So hi all, happy Monday. The AP is this Thursday morning. I thought I'd go over today the Java quick reference, which will be included in your exam package. Not a whole lot here, but some stuff that you should certainly be aware of because it could be useful. So first thing is this section on java.lang.object. Remember, every object in Java, or every class in Java, is a subclass of the object class. The object class is the superclass above all other classes, is the Adam and Eve of all other objects. To use a Judeo-Christian term, it is the first. It is, so every object automatically inherits from the object class an equals method, which allows comparison of two objects. And what it really will compare, unless you override it, is it will compare the addresses of the objects. You always override the equals method for objects, classes that you create, right? If you want to be able to compare the equality of two objects of a class, you override the equals method and write one that makes sense for your class, right? However, you want to define equals. And we did this once or twice during the year. Every inherit class also automatically inherits a toString method, which is pretty much worthless. It returns a string representing something, I'm not sure what now about an object, but maybe a string representation of its address. I can't remember. But again, this is always overwritten. And we did this for the card class and for the deck class, I think. Okay, we wrote our own toString methods for those classes. So next up is integer, the integer class, right? This is the wrapper class for ints. Remember, ints are primitives like doubles and chars and booleans, but you can wrap an integer int in the integer class, which is a full-fledged Java class. There's a number of methods, including, well, here's the constructor for integer, takes in an int value and then wraps it in the class. It has a method that returns an int called int value. It just pulls the int value that's stored in the integer object. And it has a min value and a max value, right? These are the minimum, maximum values that ints or integer objects can hold in this particular implementation of Java. Okay. So the next is double, which is just variation on integer, so I'm not going to spend any time on that. String. Okay, so there's some useful stuff here. If you forget exactly, what from and to, especially to, it's easy to forget, does it include the value for 2 in the substring? Well, it's right there. It's 2 minus 1. It doesn't include it. So if you wanted the first letter of a string, it would be from 0 to 0 here, 1 there, right? And basically from 0 to 0, which would give you the first character in the string or the substring. Okay? Length gives you the number of characters in the string. String substring substring returns a string, which is from the from position to the length, right? So from wherever from is all the way to the end. So if you wanted the entire string, it would be 0 here, right? Index of returns an int. You supply a string, and it returns the index of the first occurrence of str, the string that you're supplying as the parameter, and returns -1 if not found. So it's a quick search. Finally, compare to, right? The way to think of compare to is it's like you're doing subtraction. The object, this object minus the other object. So if that gives a negative value, right, it means that if less than 0, it means that this, the thing on the left of the minus sign, is less than the other, right? If they're the 0, it's equal to the other, and if it's greater than 0, it means that the thing on the left is greater than other. Okay, but it's right there. If you forget, you can just come back and look at these and get reminded. Java class lang math. This has some methods that you can use by doing capital MATH dot method name, because it's a static class. You can't make a math object. You can just use these methods. So the one that you'll most likely have to use is the random method, math.random. And that returns a double value between 0.0 and 1.0, right? And that is, it will not include 1.0, but it will be everything from 0 to 0 up to 1.0, but not including 1.0. And absolute value for ints, for doubles, power function, and a square root function. You may be asked to use these. It's very rare that you have to use these, but they're there if you need them. And you just you write the word math, dot, and then the function name. Finally, the list interface, right? So this applies to array lists, which is the particular implementation of the list interface that we use this year. Size returns the size of the list. So Java being very inconsistent here. Size here for the number of elements in the list, length for the number of characters in a string. Why? Historical reasons. And remember, length, without any parentheses, gives you the number of elements in an array. We have an add method that returns a Boolean. We normally don't do anything with the Boolean. We just assume that it added correctly okay, which is fine. And it adds an object to the end of the array list, automatically increasing the size of the array list when it does that. We can add at a particular index position the object if we want to place it somewhere in particular. And then we can use get to get the value at a particular index position. Obviously, that index position needs to be less than size. We can set a particular index position with, we can put an object at that, set an object at that position, and that actually returns, as does get, it returns the object that was previously at that position. And we can remove the object at a position, and it returns that object. And remember that when you remove something from an array list, everything above it in the array list shuffles down and fills in that space. Okay? So, hope that was helpful. Take some time to familiarize yourself with this so that in case you need to use it on the test, you know exactly where to look for the thing that you need to check. Okay? Thanks, and I hope you're all feeling prepared and have some time for some more practice questions between now and Thursday. And good luck with whatever other APs you might be taking. Okay? Enjoy the good weather. Thanks, Mr. Bartels, signing out.